And then the second one is the House Bill 1674, which is the broad anti-protest bill, covers removing liability for running people over with your car. It addresses blocking roadways, makes it now something that's punishable by a fine or jail time, so you can't march in the street anymore. And then it also targets groups that organize protests, which, again, like, I don't even know in some cases how you would necessarily even do that. So it's like, if they share it on Facebook, is that illegal now? Like, who gets the fine on this? It's like, if they create the event, like, how are you enforcing that? But the obvious goal is to have the chilling effect. Like, well, now you can't organize a protest because if it goes south or if something happens, suddenly now you're going to face a huge fine. Any indication of the gov's likelihood of signing it? I mean, like, what's higher than 100%? 150%? 200,000%? Like, yeah, this dude's signing that. Because it's just straight culture war stuff. I mean, it's probably unconstitutional. Lawyers are going to be looking at that very closely. But, yeah, I mean, it's just the whole design is to control speech of people we don't like or people they don't like.
Right. And the idea that organizations can now become liable for organizers and, people who come out to these demonstrations. I mean, the newsreels are full of looting and stories of burning and destruction, but so many times those have been linked to people who are out of the state, who
Nothing to do with it. Yeah.
have nothing to do with organizations, but are like looking to stir things up. And so it's hard to say, like, oh, you're holding this public event. Now it's like everyone who walks through those doors is on you. And that's just becomes an impossible task for organizations that are like barely staffing enough people to, motivate these big movements to begin with, that they don't have the ability, or should have the ability, to be like, I'm sorry, can I see your credentials before you enter this protest, please?
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Well, and I mean, it just goes against the whole idea of the First Amendment. I mean, like, the whole point is we're supposed to be able to redress our government, sometimes in loud, angry words, but, like, there's no, I mean, there's a whole amendment about it in the Constitution about that we're allowed to do this. And so, well, the reason I think he's going to sign it is because, like, this is probably the most regressive anti-protest bill in the entire country. Like, so he's going to be first, right? And for a governor that has grotesque national ambitions, being the first to sign the most punchy down, like, I'm showing, those radical Antifa activists who's boss. I mean, he's going to sign that and then immediately go on Tucker and, talk about it and talk about how, like, he's proud of it. Like,
right. And he gets the national platform. I mean, signing these kinds of bills allows him to have that national voice. And unfortunately, it doesn't give organizations that same lift. You see local news channels give, the response from Black Lives Matter or the response from immigrant rights organizations, but you don't see the national news pressure on what that means for local organizations. Instead, you get statewide governors getting on these national conversations. And then what is the national effect of these bills? What does this mean nationally for the trends? And so, like, one gets elevated and one gets silenced even more. And the national narrative then rejects the state narrative and the local narrative.
Yeah. So, I mean, I anticipate him jumping right into it to just be in the middle of something that's going to should make national news.